Everybody knows what the Cincinnati Bengals need, and that's not just my opinion. Even Jamar Chase said it himself. But here's the thing: sometimes when a star says everybody knows what we need, he's really saying we got a problem and I can't fix it. Let's talk about it. So the Cincinnati Bengals have missed the playoffs the last 3 years. Joe Burrow missed half of the season. Uh, it seems like that's been a reoccurring thing for Joe Burrow. Start off the season injured, come back halfway through the season, try to make a run, and fall short of the playoffs. They finished 29th in rushing yards this year on offense. The defense was below average at best. I think they were ranked at the bottom on everything. And according to what I'm reading, they are. Uh, and that's just been the thing for the Bengals. The Bengals have been pretty much top heavy on offense, and the defensive side of the ball has not been good in a while. Jesse Bates was let go. Uh, he went to Atlanta. Trey Hendrickson has been fighting with the Bengals, it seemed like the last 2 years. And, they have not hit on a lot of those picks. So, um, when Jamar Chase said what he said, and he said, everybody pretty much knows what we need. I can't control that. I just can control my production. Listen, that's not any type of emotion. He's pretty much telling the truth. I mean, he knows what he produces. He's always been a top three, top five receiver since he's come into the league. Now, what's the real issue with this team? And it's not being said out loud. The Bengals are cap strapped. Joe Burrow is getting top end franchise QB money. Jamar Chase is getting top end elite wide receiver money, and Tee Higgins is getting top five, top seven money. So when you look at that, these guys are getting paid a handsome amount of money. And when you got your quarterback doing 55, $57 million a year, and your wide receiver, your number one wide receiver, doing 40 something, and your second receiver is doing 35, let's go tighten up the cap. They couldn't even get a deal done with Trey Hendrickson because he feels like he's worth more than the Bengals are willing to pay. And they're in a situation where's this relief gonna come from on the defensive side of the ball? You know, you're asking a question: can this team be a complete team? Can this team be built like a complete team, like we just saw with the Seattle Seahawks, when you got three top heavy guys taking up all the money? And that puts them in a precarious situation. I mean, they are pretty much the Ferrari on the offense and they use Pinto on defense. They out there. They may get you to where you want to go, but they're not really good. So when you got that type of situation, what are the consequences? The consequences are that this team is going to be last in everything. And going into this offseason, I don't know what kind of moves that they can make that is really going to make this team better on defense. Do you go digging in free agency? Get a couple guys that's got a little tread left on the tires. Hopefully, they can come in and patch up some spots in that defense and make it somewhat formidable. But here's the thing: Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and those guys have to look at is you're in a situation where you make all the money. That means that you're put in a situation where you're going to have to carry that offense. And that offense is just going to have to outscore everybody in order to be a contender, but what you guys have right now. And, this has been an AFC where You called a down year this year, and you guys still couldn't really make a run. You guys fell short because Joe was hurt early. And you got to deal with Patrick Mahomes. You still got to deal with Josh Allen. You still got to deal with Lamar Jackson and CJ Stroud. You know, hopefully he comes into a better year. You got Drake May on the rise now, just coming off a Super Bowl. It's going to be thick in the AFC. And also, I forgot Bo Nix and Denver Broncos. So it's a lot of competition in the AFC. Just in the Bengals division alone, you have some competition. So they're in a situation where they have to figure out who they are and what they want to do, and they have to end up finding balance. Now, you know, the line that you don't want to cross is, publicly acknowledging roster flaws. That's not going to help the situation. Honestly, it's going to hurt the situation. And when Joe Burrow put a lot of pressure on the ownership of the Bengals to make the moves to make sure that guys like Jamar Chase and Tee Higgins were handsomely compensated. They got paid well. Gesicki got paid well. Uh, they made sure that offensive side of the ball is loaded. Now, you can't be frustrated when you don't get the you're not getting a full balanced attack. Your job, once you loaded that roster up that way, is you have to carry that roster. Or you're going to have to figure out how to restructure contracts, or you go give some money back. These are the real questions that need to be asked. And when you have a player coming out like Jamar, understand his frustration, understand everything that he's talking about. But you got to understand the business too. You got paid. You got what you wanted. Your quarterback got what he wanted. And your running mate and Tee Higgins got what he wanted too. So everybody got paid on that side of the ball. Where does that leave the rest of the cap money for the defense? Still have to fill the team on that side. And hopefully you can maybe build through the draft and get some of these guys that can come in and plug and play right away and can help fortify that defense a little bit. But kind of need that defense to be somewhat of a wall and it's more like a speed bump. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, are the Bengals offensive talent go sacrifice some of that money to get some of that defense? Because that's the real question. Tom Brady did it, created a dynasty in New England. Teams that do that, that give up a little bit of money, they're able to make deep runs into the playoffs because they know the greater good is to field a balanced team. We have to call it what it is. The Cincinnati Bengals are a top heavy team, and until they address that or get lucky in the draft and draft defensive players that could come in right away and create a difference, the Bengals go be in the same place. They're not going nowhere fast. And as much as I like the Bengals, they're in a situation where it's gonna be the same old, same old. How do you get out of the AFC North? Even better, how do you get out the AFC? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. To the next video.